Hey guys, it's me again. Just a really quick rant today, as usual. And today I'd just like to talk about the different watchmen there are on YouTube or anywhere else for that matter. And there's just different kinds. And let me start out with myself. I don't, well, I think we're all watchmen, those who are looking for his glorious appearing, those who are eagerly awaiting the rapture. I believe that we could all consider ourselves watchmen, especially if we're telling others about the rapture and warning them about the great tribulation. I think a lot of people get really self-important by giving themselves the title of a watchman. And to me, all it really is someone who's looking out and for the Lord's appearing, somewhat in an active manner, and not just in an active manner where you're looking stuff up and trying to figure it out, but just having that heart of anticipation and longing. I think it's more, being a watchman is more of a state of the heart above all else. And I know that a lot of Christians, they claim to be watching for the rapture, but unless you're really watching for the rapture, like you're hoping for it and getting disappointed, entertaining dates that other people come up with, then I don't think you're really watching. But on the flip side, you don't have to be one of those people who are trying to decipher the rapture code. However way you know how, whether it's through the Bible or through the stars or whatever else. You don't have to. I don't think you actually have to be doing those to qualify as a watchman. Um, so with that said, what kind of watchmen are there on YouTube? Let me start with myself. I'm the kind that you don't really want to watch if you are trying to look for dates or clues, because I'm simply not that guy. I don't have that gifting to be able to decode some of the hidden things in the Bible, or even the things that are hidden in plain sight. So I'm basically more of just a guy who comments on everybody else's work. A lot of times very critical, and I just speak my mind. And a lot of times I rant nonsense and maybe even offend a lot of people, but hopefully in the process I'm able to encourage some as well. That is my hope anyway. And yes, I tend to get in the flesh whenever I go on these rants. So that's one kind of watchman. There are those probably on top of my list are guys like Dr. Barry. He's one of the more popular ones, if not the popular one. And popular is a relative term. The body of Christ, the part of the body of Christ who are actually actively watching for the rapture, I think they're very small compared to the whole population of the world. So, but yeah, Dr. Barry, guys like him who are actually doing their own research, working diligently and trying to come up with timelines and theories. And CJ, I forgot what his last name is, the guy from Rock Island books. He's he's the guy that really got me started actively waiting and watching for the rapture, for the glorious appearing, because of his work. I was really convinced by one of his videos that failed ultimately. So you guys like Dr. Barry, CJ, there are a few others out there who come up with their own timelines and their calculations. I would bet, if I were a betting guy and if you can actually bet on these things, it would be Dr. Barry and that Rock Island books guy, CJ, who I would think the Lord will reveal the timing of the rapture to. Not necessarily though, because the Lord can speak through anyone, even through me and anybody who's seeking. But if God's going to be a rewarder of those who diligently seek him as far as the timing of the rapture goes, then I believe that guys like Dr. Barry Awe and CJ, whatever his last name is, from Rock Island Books, are prime candidates for getting that revelation. And yeah, keep watching Rock Island Books. That guy might actually be onto something. He's being a little coy about it, but we'll see. Rock Island Books. So that's another kind of watchman. probably my least. Well, not yet. I'm not going to go to my least favorite yet. There are those watchmen who are basically more observant, and they're very passionate about the rapture, but they don't really come up with their own timelines and all. They would comment on other people's timelines and analyze it. They're very analytical. They'll try to bring up current events and try to point out their possible prophetic significance. They're very eloquent, articulate. Guys like Tyler from Generation 2434, Bro Chooch from TOL End Times. I'm thinking out loud. Guys like him, they'll sit there and basically rant, but in an intelligent fashion, not like me in a nonsense fashion. But yeah, they're very analytical. They'll analyze other people's theories and give their opinions on it, and they're really good. They're very informative, and they're really up to date when it comes to the current events. Then there are those types of watchmen. The other type of watchmen are more of the cheerleader type. I mean, they sort of follow the news too, but then they're really just really excited and they love the Lord. You can tell that they do. They don't really have any information of their own or calculations of their own to share with us. Guys like, I think Brother John from Watchmen on For That Great Day or something like that. I call him Brother Bones, but don't ask me why. But oh yeah, the other guy, the other popular guy, that bald guy that looks like Agent 47. I think Watchman on the Wall 88 or something like that. Yeah, he's another one of those guys who definitely doesn't like to give out dates. He always says that in his introduction, that we're watching for the Lord's appearing. I don't know if he's planning on broadcasting it on YouTube, but yeah, he doesn't like to give dates, but he always brings up current events and how it ties to the end times prophecy. That's another kind of watchman that I like. They don't really come up with their own timelines and theories, like I say. But then there are those other ones who do come up with timelines and theories, but they're just kind of kooky. They're a bunch of loons almost. Not all of them are loons. Yeah, but they're guys who just can find just anything within the pages of the Bible. They can tie it to the rapture. I don't know if it's just their creativity, or they're full of it, or they really have something. And they can find the most obscure things. And to me, it's a little way too unconventional, even for my taste. In one of my videos, I said that when we're trying to unlock the timing of the rapture through the Bible, we need to be unconventional about it. We can't go all hermeneutical. But there are some watchmen who take it just a little too far. But there are those kind of watchmen. Some of them mean well. Some of them I think are con man. And that's the other type of watchmen that are out there. There are a lot of people who are claiming to be watchmen, but they're just making stuff up, like straight up making stuff up. And there are a lot of people whose channel is based on dreams they supposedly get from the Lord. Like every single night they have a dream from the Lord, and it's always the same thing. Oh yeah, he's coming soon. And sometimes they come up with these sort of vague scenarios trying to make it look authentic, but you can tell that they're full of it. Well, sometimes you can't. But when you have like a Watchman channel that's revolving around their dreams and nothing ever comes of it, then yeah, you can be sure that they're a false prophet and they're making stuff up, or they're deceiving themselves, or something else is deceiving them. And I'm not going to name names, but there's a few of them out there, and you probably know. Whatever. A couple of them are women, and that's all I'm going to say. But there are those kind of watchmen who always have dreams and visions. And some of these dreams are very elaborate, but if they don't come to pass, especially if they claim like a certain timeline and they say it's from the Lord, then you can write them off. So yeah, false prophets. The thing about it is they're banking on our tendency to not want to judge others because especially if there's an actual prophet like person or a person through whom the Lord may actually be speaking, we don't want to just write everybody off. And I think this is how a lot of these watchmen or fake watchmen get by, and that's how they get away with all the stuff they say, because we dare not really insult them directly or confront them directly, lest we be found fighting against the Lord. That's really their number one weapon. Kind of like a nasty spider or a cockroach. Like their best defense is they're disgusting and gross. Like they dare you to step on them because they know how disgusting they can be when they're splatted on the floor. So that's their best defense, how disgusting they'll be when they're dead. So just leave them alone, let them scurry around, and you don't have to deal with a mess. That's kind of like what these false watchmen are like, the false prophets. But then my least favorite, as bad as those false prophets are, yeah, I hate those guys. My least favorite would have to be the watchmen channels that have relatively high production values. Because to me, they are the most insincere out of them all. Because how can you possibly be, or how can you possibly have any sense of urgency about the rapture when your number one priority is to make sure your cue cards are ready, to make sure you have a nice suit, to make sure that your nose isn't too shiny for the camera, and you want to make sure that your hair is just right, the lighting is just right. Those are your priorities. So there's no sense of urgency whatsoever, especially if you're the kind who's going to have like a conference weeks and months ahead of time, because that's how urgent you feel the topic of the rapture should be. Yeah, prepare for it for several weeks and months. Jesus ain't coming back anytime soon. I mean, they're so sure. And whenever I see these Watchmen channels, and when you put them on, it's like you're watching a TV show kind of thing. The setup, it's like they're sitting in a studio. That's the kind of Watchmen channel I'm referring to specifically. And some of them sound really sincere. They have really sound doctrine when it comes to the end times. But they're not really giving us anything new. They'll talk about current events, and all they can say is it's going to happen soon. And these are the kind of Watchmen people who like to keep the rapture on the horizon, and they want the rapture to stay on the horizon. Always there, always a fun topic to talk about, always there to draw the audience, but they're hoping in their heart of hearts that it never happens. Or maybe they're not hoping that per se, but they don't really believe it'll happen. But they just know there's viewership and there's demand for the topic of the rapture. So, they'll put out content. They'll base their channels around that, give us a little bit of news. But they're not really doing any work. What do I mean by they're not doing any work? They're not doing any research trying to figure out when the rapture is. And they're living by the motto of nobody knows the day or the hour, which, as I've said a million times, has nothing to do with the rapture. And as I've said a million times as well, I believe that we can know the day and the hour. And I think we'll know probably not too long before the actual rapture. So I don't think we're actually gonna know like years in advance. But as things are happening now, it does seem like the rapture could happen, very, very soon. Everything is pointing to the Great Tribulation being right around the corner. And because if that's the case, I believe that God is going to give us more and more revelation, especially those who are truly seeking. I think He's going to give us better understanding. I believe the end times prophecies are going to be unsealed at an alarming rate. These next few days or weeks, however long we may have here. It seems like, we've been waiting forever, but, I think it's going to happen soon. I'm just praying. And yes, we've been wrong every single time. Those guys, anyway, who have come up with dates. But as I like to say, we can only be right once, ever. We can only be right once. And I think the Lord just wants us to just be on the ready. He is priming us to receive that revelation. See, the funny thing is, as many dates have failed that I've been keeping an eye on over the past couple of years, I am not discouraged at all. I mean, yes, I'll get frustrated when it doesn't happen. I might even get a little bummed. But overall, I am not discouraged. I'm not going to dismiss the next date or next window. I'm even more excited than I ever was, in spite of all these failed dates, and maybe even because of all these failed dates. I think the Lord is just really trying to wake us up and getting us in that watch mode. And I don't think we will be in some sort of despair when the rapture happens, because it is a rescue after all. But I do believe that as we get closer and closer to our day of redemption, that rapture, I believe that the Lord will start revealing to us things that will get us excited and lift up our spirits before we actually lift off from this planet. So, pretty long rant for me. Thank you guys for watching. That's all I have. I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully there won't be a next time.